The 5 things that getting jacked has taught me about women. So let's begin. Hopping into number 1, they'll say one thing but mean another. So we often hear that women prefer dad bods or they don't care if a man is in shape or if he has muscles. Yet, based on my experience, and maybe you can attest to this as well if you're also in shape or if you're on your journey to improving your physique, that this couldn't be farther from the truth. Because once I got into shape and I started building muscle to my frame, and I used to be a very skinny, slim dude, right? Like I was made of sticks, you know what I'm saying? And once I started building just a little bit of muscle mass to my frame, that's when I personally saw that it was actually a lot easier to attract women to me. And I would get compliments from those women about how nice my body was. Again, I wasn't that big. I didn't have a whole bunch of muscle mass to me when I was first starting to get into the gym. I started lifting when I was 17 and I was a junior in high school. But once I started to have some of those newbie gains and I started to build a little bit more size to my arms, to my biceps, the vascularity in my forearms started to showcase themselves. That's when I started to actually get more looks from women. That's when I started to attract more women to me. And that was in high school, right? And I put on a lot more size. I put on a lot more mass. I'm not huge by any means, but I'm definitely a lot bigger right now than I was when I first started lifting. And my dating life and my ability to attract women to me has been a night and day difference compared to when I wasn't lifting at all. And this was the number one thing that proved to me that the whole women want dad bod things, or that they don't care about a man that has muscle mass or is in shape, was a complete lie, right? And this is when I learned that when it comes to women, but also just people in general, man, you got to pay attention to a person's actions over their words, right? And again, this goes for men and women. This isn't just for women, because I know there's a lot of dudes that talk about how, oh, you got to watch what a woman does and not pay attention to what she says. And although that's true, that goes for everybody, man. That really goes for everybody. It's not just strictly for women. And what I've learned is that the reason why you'll have some women say that they prefer dad bods or that they don't care about muscles on a man is simply because of the perceived competition anxiety that comes with dating a man like that. Because a man that is in shape, that has, you know, a strong masculine aesthetic physique, he's going to be able to attract other women to him. And depending on the type of woman, not all women are like this, but depending on the type of woman, that although she may be attracted to the man that is in shape, that has that muscular proportionate frame and built to him, she may not want to deal with that man like that, bro. She's going to believe that dude that is in shape, that has that masculine aesthetic physique, he has a bunch of women checking for him, hitting him up in the DMs on Instagram, sliding into his phone and texting him and hitting him up, trying to see when they can meet up and when she can see him. You know what I'm saying? Some women are going to be, you know, not too fond of the competition anxiety that comes with interacting and dating a man like that. So that's why you're going to hear some women say that they prefer dad bods versus a man that is in shape, that's lean, that's aesthetic, that has 6-pack abs, that's at a low body fat percentage, or that they don't care about a man with muscles. However, I think this is more of the minority of women than the majority, in my opinion, based on my experience. And also another reason why you will have certain women that will say stuff like this is just because a lot of the times those women are unwilling to take care of themselves. They're unwilling to get in the gym. They don't have a desire to get in the gym, which is cool, which is fine. Everyone's entitled to what they want to do and how they want to live their life. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't spread these lies that you prefer dad bods or that you don't care about a man's muscles. And it's not that they prefer a dad bod based on the aesthetic and the appearance of the physique, but the fact that they don't feel like they'll have to compete or worry about that man generating other options. It's not necessarily the aesthetic, but it's the feeling really that they believe that they're getting. It's a sense of security that they believe that they're getting by messing with a dude that doesn't have an aesthetic, masculine, and overall a built physique. So that's number 1, is that they'll say one thing but mean another. Moving on to number 2 is that a small amount of muscle actually goes a long way when it comes to being aesthetic and attracting women to you. Because based on my experience, again, I was a twig, bro, when I was younger, right? A small amount of proportionate muscle mass goes a long way when it just overall comes to being aesthetic to women, because you look more natural. And I'm not talking just natural in the sense of natty or if you're juicing or if you're using steroids, but it it looks like from a genetic perspective, at least this is my theory, that when you're more leaner, more of that athletic build, and you're not like this overly bloated, big, round bodybuilder, which doesn't look natural. I think when you look more lean and more athletic, it showcases what your genetics will naturally look like. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say all that is because women are biologically wired to want to reproduce with men that have built, strong, proportionate, lean, aesthetic physiques, because it signals to them that they're going to be able to reproduce healthy and strong offspring. And when you're this massive bodybuilder that looks like the Thing from Fantastic Four, that just looks unnatural. That doesn't look like that's what your natural genetics will reproduce. You have to try really hard to look like that, on top of the fact that it's extra, man. It's too much. Hopefully that makes sense. It's probably not going to make sense to some people, but I just feel like that whole bloated bodybuilder look just looks too unnatural, and it's not representing your genetics, I guess, in the most natural way possible that would be appealing to the woman and have her think, okay, if I reproduce with this man, we would have some good looking kids, right? She doesn't want baby things coming out of her. That's one thing to keep in mind. It's really the other men's opinions on being this bodybuilder and having all this muscle mass. It's the other opinions of other men that have a lot of men thinking that they have to look this way to attract women. And this is called the male gaze, right? It's other men who think that you can never be big enough. It's other men that will tell you that your legs need to be as big as a building, right? Like, it's other men who are going to be critical of your physique. Whereas, as long as you look like you work out, because you actually do, or at least you should, you look strong, you're at a low body fat percentage, and you have proportionate muscle mass too, you're going to be good when it comes to being aesthetic to women and being attractive to them. Like, even if you have a slim build, you're still going to be able to pull women. You're still going to be considered attractive to women. And you're going to notice that women that are attracted to slim builds are usually going to be women who are slim themselves. If you have more of a bigger build to you, a bigger frame, you're going to see that you're going to attract more women who are more on the thicker side, right? More proportionate, a little bit more on the thicker side, right? So you're going to see the women that you attract are going to be similar to really your build, right? They're going to be a reflection of you in the sense of their build compared to yours. But it's really going to be the men, man, at least from my experience when I was more so younger coming up, it was other men who would try to make me feel insecure about my slim build. And really looking back now and understanding what it was just those dudes were jealous because I was able to attract women to me, even though I didn't have a whole bunch of muscle mass to me. But they saw that how I was able to attract women to me, and they didn't like that. They were jealous. It's really, from my experience, bro, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. A lot of like issues for me personally have just came from other dudes. Like, other dudes have acted more like women than how you see these content creators paint women in a certain light. It's really the dudes who act more like women in the sense of doing petty shit. At least that's just from my experience, right? That's just something I just wanted to share, just because, and everyone's not perfect, right? We have to understand, we have to be on point and be conscious of human nature as a whole. But from my experience, bro, it's really a lot of dudes who will act petty, that will act like females themselves because of just how jealous they can get, man. They get jealous over women that aren't even checking for them. That's the funniest part about it. And they'll try to tear you down because they see that the women that they want are checking for you and want you, but they don't want them. You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. I wanted to bring that to your attention because maybe you're on the slimmer side of things, or maybe you're on your fat loss journey, and either way, you're putting in the work and you're doing what you can to improve yourself. You may have some dudes who are going to throw hate at you, but the only reason why they're throwing hate at you is because they see the progress. They see where you're headed. They know that if you keep going, you're going to start generating more results. You're going to start bearing more fruit. You're going to start getting more attention. You're going to start getting more attraction from women. They see where you're headed because they have more of that third person point of view, and you're more so tunnel focused because you're in your first person point of view, right? So with that being said, make sure that when you're still leveling yourself up and you're putting in the work and you're enjoying the grind, don't get discouraged. Don't feel like you don't have what it takes to keep going. Don't feel like you don't have what it takes to build your dream body just because of what other opinions of other men will say, or maybe men that you see in the fitness space, you know, on Instagram and YouTube and all these fitness influencers. They may have a certain type of physique that you think may not be realistic to obtain, but that's simply not the case as long as you keep putting in the work. But what you'll find is that once you start to really build that aesthetic physique and you get jacked, and that's simply just having a good amount of proportionate muscle mass to you while being at a low body fat percentage and just having more of that V-shaped physique. At least that's how I perceive being jacked. It's not necessarily being this huge dude, but just having a lot more proportionate muscle mass to you at a lower body fat percentage that's proportionate, right? What you're going to see is that you'll find that women will actually boost your confidence more and talk about how nice your body is versus what you would believe they would say or think about you, because you're thinking from the male gaze because of other men's opinions. Hopefully that makes sense. But you'll see that when you're in shape, it's actually going to be the women who will boost your confidence up. They'll talk about how nice your arms are, how nice your shoulders are, how nice your chest may be, how wide your back is, how nice your abs are, how nice your legs are, all those things, right? It's usually going to be the women who will compliment you, and it's usually going to be the dudes who will think that you can never do enough. But they're haters. You know what I mean? Most dudes are haters anyway, especially when they're ugly, they're out of shape, they can't get women, they look like their breast stinks. They have no choice but to hate. They're just coping. But understand too that women love a man that takes care of himself and is physically capable, but they don't want a man who also looks like he lives in the gym every day and has that overly bloated bodybuilder look and looks like the Thing off of Fantastic Four, right? So understand, women want dudes who take care of themselves. They want men that are strong, that are capable of protecting them, right? Protecting themselves, but a man that can protect women as well. Because again, this all stems back to their biological wiring. And this is also why it's important to learn how to fight. I'm a big advocate for martial arts. I do Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu personally. And I always encourage men to become the ultimate physical weapon, which is building a strong, masculine, aesthetic, lean, functional, healthy physique, but also have the technical skills, have the combat skills to go along with that muscle mass, with that size, with that athleticism, with that strength, so that you can cover both bases when it comes to being able to protect yourself and be able to defend yourself and loved ones simply. So that's number 2, is that a small amount of muscle goes a long way. Now, moving on to number 3 is that they want you to keep your mission the main priority. So I'm talking about that women want you to keep your mission the main priority. Now, what do I mean by that? So whether you're dating women casually or you're in a long-term relationship, this is going to be more so important for my gentlemen who are either in a long-term relationship right now watching this video, or you plan on being in a long-term relationship. You want to be in a long-term relationship with one woman, is that women can often attempt to throw you off your mission. And a lot of this is not intentional. You're going to have some dudes who are like, oh man, women are out to get us. Women want to tear us down. They don't want us to be successful, all this bullshit. And again, that comes from dudes who are lacking in a deficit. You hear all that talk, those talking points with that negativity and that toxicity from dudes who know that they just couldn't get it like that, man. That they couldn't attract women like that. They weren't willing to put in the work to attract women, to attract the women that were checking for them. When you hear dudes talk like that from negativity, it's because they are operating from a place of a deficit. They're still in scarcity. Even if they may look like they're not, they're still thinking from a scarcity. They haven't changed their self-image. They still view themselves as the younger boy who was getting punked by women back in the day, which is cool. Everyone has their origin story. I'm not necessarily poking fun at that. What I'm poking fun of is the lack of transformation, the lack of shifting the self-image, shifting your identity, looking at the glass half empty instead of half full. You know what I'm saying? But women aren't going to do this intentionally. They're not going to do this intentionally. Like women that are going to throw you off your mission, I more so mean in the examples of them wanting to spend more time with you, want you to cuddle with them more. They want you to, lay in bed with them all day on a Saturday and watch Netflix and watch movies, go out to brunch, go shopping, do this, that, and the third, which is cool. If a woman wants to spend time with you, man, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you have things that you need to handle first and foremost, like you need to go to the gym and get a lift in, it's a leg day, right? You got to work out your chest, whatever. Or maybe you got to go to a martial art class. Maybe you got to go to Muay Thai, boxing, jiu-jitsu, MMA. Or you just simply need to take care of more of the time sensitive, higher priority task earlier on the day before you kick it with your girl. You need to make sure that you prioritize those things first and foremost, but you also allocate times to spend time doing things with your woman at the appropriate times, right? And this is why as a man, you have to know how to lead, number one, but number two, redirect the conversation and learn how to prioritize and be able to prioritize your important task first and then spend time with your women or woman if you are in a long-term relationship or want to be in a long-term relationship at the appropriate times, as I said. And you don't have to be mean when you deliver this message or this conversation to the woman that you're dating or interacting with. You don't have to be disrespectful when you tell her no. Just simply let her know, hey, I would love for us to spend time together. This is what we're going to do. I need to go ahead and take care of this, that, and the third. But at this time, this is when we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And when we do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to make sure I'm present when we do X, Y, Z activity, right? It's about you and the woman, not just about you or not just about her. It's about you too as a collective, right? And what you're going to see is that although some women may get a little bit upset, they may get a little bit irritated when you tell them, I got to go to the gym first before we do this, or I need to go to the gym and then I got to do this. I got to take care of this business deal. I got to take care of this work task, whatever that may look like for you. You may have some women that may get a little upset. They may get a little bit irritated in the moment. But when you keep your mission the priority and you know how to tell them no and yes at the appropriate times, they'll actually respect you more for that. Their attraction for you will actually increase. Their attraction for you will increase because you showcase to the woman that you are a leader of yourself and her in the relationship, and that you're not going to be moved off center, which means that she can trust you because you stand firm in what you believe in. She can hold on to your words and know that your words carry weight because you're committed to yourself first and foremost. You're committed to your task, which showcases that you can also be committed to her and be committed to her in a way that is going to be fruitful for you and her and the relationship as a whole. So just to give you a quick story, bring it back to more of building a jacked physique and what this has taught me about women is that when I was in relationships in the past and the girl that I was dating would want me to cuddle with her all day and watch Netflix and stuff like that. And I told her, hey, we'll do this, but I need to go hit the gym first. She would get a little bit irritated, not have a major attitude or anything, but she would get a little bit irritated. Most of the time they were understandable, but there would be times where they'd get a little bit irritated. But then when I would go to the gym and do my thing, and then later on, kick it with the girl I was dating. And then when it was time to be romantic and be intimate, she would also be complimenting me on my physique, talking about how nice my back looked, how my shoulders look, how my arms look, how vascular my forearms looked, how my abs look, right? Yeah, they may be a little bit upset because you're going to go to the gym and build your body up and take care of business when they may want to spend time with you. But then when it's time to also be intimate with you, they're also appreciating the byproduct and the result of you sticking with your mission, with you sticking with your priorities. And one of those examples being going to the gym and building yourself up. They may be upset in the moment, but they'll come to appreciate you putting in the work and being on your mission and staying committed to your mission when, you know, your woman is all over you and she's filling up on your shoulders and your chest and your back and your arms. And let's just keep it a stack here, man. I believe most men want to build a strong masculine aesthetic physique and have women like just lusting and going crazy all over for them. It's a dope feeling to have when you have that type of physique. So use that as motivation if you're not in shape already to get in shape and build the best body that you can. Because when a woman's like all over you and just filling up on your shoulders and you built your shoulders up, you built a good amount of muscle mass, you've been putting work in the gym, and it's nice for it to be appreciated by other people. We want to appreciate it first and foremost, right? Because it's about us at the end of the day. But come on, man, let's just keep it a stack. It's nice when women clearly notice and appreciate the work that you've been putting in when it comes to the gym and building a more jacked and aesthetic physique. So that's number 3. Moving on to number 4 is that like attracts like. So you'll notice that as you start to get in shape and you build more lean muscle mass to you, you lower your body fat percentage and you cut out bad habits that can actually hinder your fitness progress, such as eating junk food, drinking alcohol excessively, or just cutting out alcohol as a whole, smoking, doing drugs. Hopefully none of you guys are doing that, right? And just doing things that would just overall prevent you from building the best physique that you can, and overall prevent you from being the best version of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, etc. What you're going to notice that you're actually going to start attracting higher quality women, right? Because from my experience, I started to attract women who were into fitness, didn't smoke or drink, or didn't drink often. And if they drank, they would have like a glass of wine a night or two a week. And they were also on their own self-improvement journey. Like they were into reading, they were into journaling, they were into listening to productive podcasts, stuff like that. And without fail, these types of women always vied with me the best. And I've always had the best interactions with them. And it was just because from a mental aspect of things. We just had a lot more in common. We had better chemistry. We were just on the same wavelength. We shared similar beliefs on particular concepts, and we just clicked. Just the chemistry was very fruitful. It was just very fruitful. There wasn't a whole bunch of resistance with those type of interactions, and the chemistry just overall was great. And from a physical aspect of things, there was just, of course, a mutual physical attraction between us. But I also noticed early on as I got in shape is that women want not only attractive men, but they want men that are actually more attractive than them. Yeah, women want men who are more attractive than them. You're going to have some people say that's not true. You're going to have people say that women want to be the best looking in the relationship or as the couple. I don't believe so, man. Not from my experience. And that doesn't mean you have to be a dude that's all up in the mirror all day. Although women want men that take care of themselves, that have a skincare routine, know how to groom themselves, take care of their teeth, you know what I mean? Know how to smell good, have good hygiene, all that stuff. They want men that know how to take care of themselves. Don't get fooled with dudes who will try to tell you that's not true. But from my experience, bro, women want men who are as attractive as them, if not more attractive. Because I've literally had women tell me that if they've had ugly dudes approach them in person, they would feel disrespected. I'm just keeping a stack with you. They would feel disrespected if a man that is ugly in their eyes or just not attractive or just not on their level physically approach them. They'd be like, the audacity of this man. They'd be like, why is this dude approaching me? Why does this dude think he has a chance with me? They would get disrespected. They would feel disrespected at least, right? That's why I'm like, I don't subscribe to the notion that women want to be the better looking one in the relationship. Some women, sure, but I don't know, bro. Again, that doesn't mean you have to be a dude all up in the mirror all day, nor should you be. But from my experience, man, based on things that women have told me, I'm just keeping it a stack with you. I'm keeping it real. They want a man that is either on their same level physically or more attractive, because at the end of the day, they want to follow a man. They want a leader in their life, right? And it's also the ego thing, just like how we get big egos when we get with a woman who's very attractive that we know other dudes want, right? It's the same thing for them. If they can see that they're able to get with a really good looking man in their eyes, they feel like the prize as well. They'll look at you as a prize, but they'll also feel like they are a prize as well because they're rocking with you. They were able to get with you. You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. But that's number 4, like attracts like. And then moving on to number 5 is that women will pursue you. So when you get jacked and you build an aesthetic physique, you'll see that you'll be able to start attracting women to you. They'll pursue you, my friend. They will pursue you because, as I said earlier, traits of a masculine, strong, proportionate, and aesthetic physique are what women are biologically hardwired, to physically desire in a man so that they can produce healthy offspring with that man. And the more physically attractive and appealing that you are to the woman, the more likely she will pursue you, and pursue you with great desire, by the way. Pursue you with great desire. And this taught me early on in life as well that looks and natural attraction do in fact matter. And not only do they matter, but based on my experience, they come first and foremost before all the confidence and the personality, mouthpiece, and all that stuff. Are these things important? Of course. Do they come first before physical attraction and that natural innate attraction? Hell no, they don't. No, sorry. And I know some of you guys aren't going to like this. And here's the thing. I say have all these 3. Have the confidence, have the personality, have the mouthpiece, know how to talk to women, be charismatic, be a smooth talker. But be a smooth talker just because you're a smooth ass dude. You know what I'm saying? But these things don't trump the physical attraction. I'm sorry, it doesn't. My experience tells me otherwise. Again, I'm not discouraging guys from being confident, having a good personality and a mouthpiece, because at the same point, I've had women, now I don't know how true this is. They're just telling me what they've told me. I've had women that told me that they've gone on dates with handsome men that they thought were handsome in their eyes, that those men didn't know how to have a conversation. Those men didn't know how to ask good questions. They weren't showcasing interest in the woman. You know what I mean? They were awkward. So I do believe that, of course, you have to know how to talk to women, know how to speak, be a smooth talker, have confidence to you, have a good personality. These things are important, but hey, yo, there's dudes that believe they have all these 3 things. Or hell, they may have all these, let's just say they have all these 3 things, but they're out here approaching women that those women don't find them physically attractive and don't give them the time of day. I know some of you guys are gonna get upset about that. I don't give a shit because I'm just going off my experience. And if you get in your feelings about this, then I don't know what to tell you, dog. But when you become that dude to women physically, they'll approach you in person. It's not gonna be that often. Right? But they'll approach you in person. They'll send their friend to approach you, or they'll approach you with their friend. That way, if you do reject them, the blow isn't as bad because their friend is with them, right? And oftentimes actually, they'll do this when they're tipsy or maybe drunk, but a lot of times when they're tipsy, they'll give you choosing signals in person, or they'll give you choosing signals digitally, like on social media. Let's say, for example, Instagram, they'll like a few of your photos. They'll constantly like your stories. Maybe they'll slide up on your Instagram story saying things like, oh, are you a personal trainer? Maybe you can help personal train me if you posted a shirtless photo of your physique. That's happened to me before. Or they may just be more direct when they slide into your DMs by giving you heart eyes or giving you fire emojis or say you're handsome, you're attractive. Or if you're on dating apps, which is something I help men do as far as attracting women to them and presenting themselves in the best way possible so they can attract women to them. Not only will you get more likes and matches with women, but women will message you first. They'll message you first, jump over all the dudes who are blowing their inbox up with all these corny pickup lines. They'll message you first because they find you physically attractive, right? And you'll also hear, going back to my first point about how women want men with dad bods and they don't care about muscles. You'll hear that women will say that men who post pictures of them, shirtless and showcasing their physique comes off douchey. Now, if you do too many of those photos, yeah, it can definitely give off that vibe, but it still works, bro. If you have a solid physique that is lean, proportionate, looks strong, masculine, and it's aesthetic, and women find it attractive, and you have a shirtless photo on your dating app, you're going to get a lot of likes. You're going to get a lot of matches. Women are going to be messaging you first and jump over all the dudes who are thirsting for them, and they're going to message you. And you have to think how dope that is. You kind of have to look at that as a big deal. That's something I had to think about too, because women have shown me their inboxes and they have a whole bunch of dudes hitting them up. But the thing is, they ain't checking for those dudes. That's why I always say in my videos that there is no competition for a man that is in shape and takes care of himself, dresses well, and just presents himself to the best way that he possibly can and fulfills his physical potential, because most dudes aren't putting in the work. Most dudes look like shit out here. They don't know what they're doing, which is cool because that means more wins for us ambitious men, for my titans that follow me, right? We're ambitious men. We do everything that we can to maximize ourselves to the best of our ability, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, financially, right? Everything. And the more you can turn yourself into what I would call a human magnet, meaning a man that can attract women to him, the easier your interactions and dating life with women will be, right? The more fruitful interactions and relationships and just overall experiences that you will have when it comes to attracting women. So with that being said, if you want help getting in shape, improving your physical appearance, overall maximizing your looks, and being able to attract your ideal woman to you so that you can actually experience amazing interactions and relationships with women, then I would highly suggest that you check out my Inbound Attraction Blueprint program. You can check out my client testimonials and interviews that I've done with clients. I'll have it linked down below in the description and the pinned comment. With that being said, I hope you got a lot of value from this video, and I will talk to you in the next one.